Hello, listeners, and welcome back to Otafest's latest episode. I'm here with Jay and Angelo.
Hello, hello. This is Angelo, and we've got the speed run edition of the Otafest podcast.
There's a story behind
Season 6,
this.
Episode 11.
There's no story. I don't know what you're talking about. This will be the best podcast you've ever listened to.
We've practiced this time.
This is the non-dress-rehearsal episode.
Yes.
You know what else is the non-dress-rehearsal episode? October 30th, Friday, Otafest Extra Life Marathon Stream. Bayfar and Jay will be doing
That's
a 12-hour Scream stream from noon till midnight, where we'll be aiming to complete a playthrough of isolation horror game Soma to raise money to help heal sick kids. So tune in to twitch.tv/Otafest and watch Jay and Bayfar poop their pants maybe.
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 So I want to ask if...
Never trust a fart.
Oh, dangerous. Okay, so can I assume that neither of you have ever played it before?
We have never played it before. The game is made by the same people who made Amnesia. We looked up the play times, and it's roughly anywhere from 9 to 11 hours for the main story, maybe with a couple of extra shenanigans here and there. So we hope to be able to finish it in time. If we finish it in time, we might do a little something extra, whether it might be with the audience, it may just be amongst ourselves, not really 100% sure. It kind of will depend on how we're feeling, because it will be a sort of a long day. But on the whole, super looking forward to it. We're going to help sick kids get better, donate some money to charity, and we really hope people will join us.
Sounds good. But yeah, like...
Awesome.
I know we've had this discussion before, but people have told me that I would make like a really good horror game player just because A, I'm not desensitized to it, and B, I've never been super into horror, so I feel like I would probably react to like the littlest things in a horror game, and that's why people are wanting me to play one. But like, Jade, are you pretty desensitized to horror in general, like horror movies, horror games?
I don't play a lot of horror games. I watch a fair amount of horror movies. I have a few friend groups that are super into horror movies. I am the guy who makes fun of the horror movie because I don't find it that scary at all. Like jump scares don't really get me. In It Chapter 2, the scariest scene for me was literally when the guy goes into this basement operation area that has a bunch of like used unsterilized needles.
Ew.
And that's way more disturbing to me than a creepy clown or any nightmare kind of thing. Or
Didn't a lot of people criticize it too, though?
probably
A lot of people are like, yeah, this isn't scary because we already know the monster.
Yeah, and I don't disagree that, like, I don't think the second movie was as good, but I'm saying for anyone who, I also don't really have like big fears. Like Bayfar doesn't like spiders. I don't care about spiders. I don't care about the dark, thunder, monsters. I'm kind of what do you call
I don't know,
it?
at the same time,
like
just
unscarable.
having a phobia doesn't make a movie about that thing scary.
Mhm.
Like, if
It
you
makes
have
it worse for you,
arachnophobia,
I think.
it can, but like if you have arachnophobia, there's the one spider movie that was literally made to be a horror called Arachnophobia, and that one's scary as hell.
My,
But then you
how
get
fitting
something
the
like
name.
Eight-Legged Freaks, and it's just campy as hell. I
Yeah.
love that movie. It's fucking hilarious.
I do
Scary,
think that we
eh?
are, for the record, I think we are going to react. It's a game we've never played before. I do remember Amnesia being a pretty good game. Bayfar's played through it too.
Is
So
it more of
we
a
have, like, high
psychological
expectations.
thriller, or...
It's an isolation survival. It looks like we had to do a little research because we were trying to find the right game, and something that we wanted to do was having a game that we hadn't played before. So Soma sort of fills all these boxes for us, and it has the right length of gameplay time for us for this slot. Additionally, it feels and looks like a little bit like Subnautica, mixed with some elements of Amnesia as well. And there's another game that I was thinking of for BioShock. It has a few BioShock type feels, but not obviously in the gameplay. I don't think we're gonna go around with superpowers or anything like that. But
I've seen full run-throughs, and so like I know for the most part what happens.
Mhm.
But
No, we're going in
Jay is
super
going to
blind.
have some fun with the philosophy of Control C, Control V.
Oh dear.
Okay. All
Interesting
right.
and cool. I'm looking forward to it.
It's premonitions.
Premonitions. That's what
Yeah.
the game is about. The philosophy of Control C, Control V.
Hmm.
How have you guys been?
It snowed. I'm waiting for Angelo to do his "It snowed, I'm angry at the sky" thing. So, Angelo, take it away.
I was awake late last night, and the snow came down. Everywhere in sight it covered. 2 inches deep, 3 inches deep, who knows how deep. I stopped counting and started exaggerating. Everywhere like a pox. Eventually, I returned to my bed, aching for warm slumber. But what greeted me was a comfy Dio, wrapped up in her blanket like a burrito, and I could not climb under that blanket. I had to grab whatever I could off the floor and pray that I could stay warm with it.
Use toilet
But
paper.
warm I did not stay. Angry and cold, I later awoke, and the snow was still there. It was not a figment of my imagination.
No.
Damn you, snow! For what purpose? Why?
There were warnings that we were supposed to get like up to a foot, and we only got like maybe 3 inches.
Yeah, we got about 2 to 3 inches, so
Yeah, it's
if we were
crap.
supposed to get a foot, it's way better than we
Yeah.
could have gotten.
Plus, it started snowing a lot later in the day yesterday than I thought it would.
Still angry about it.
It snowed over. It was snowing overnight a little bit. I remember at about 3 a.m. before I went to bed.
It was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon before it started snowing for us.
Well, winter's officially here, I guess. Stupid winter.
Stupid, sexy winter.
October is like, if it doesn't snow in October, it's almost a miracle in itself. Because I can't.
The fact that it waited 2 weeks is kind of nice courtesy from the weather.
I think
Usually
last year
we're frozen solid by October 1st.
I think last year we got our first snow in September. Like maybe even the first.
We
week.
did.
Like,
It was awful.
it went
Yeah.
away. Like most of this snow will go away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was a super mild winter last year. But
Except for the last part.
Except for
Yes,
that last
The last
bit,
part
yeah.
was pretty rude.
But it sucks that you had a cold sleep, though. Like, you just didn't have any blanket?
well, I had my old duvet, but it's old and mildly deflated.
Oh.
I had that in a smaller blanket, so it wasn't like I was without. It's just Dio had the better blanket.
Maybe you should consider buying yourself also a second better blanket.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should.
Like, would it actually be better if you had separate blankets for either of you? Or is that just asking for more clutter?
It's definitely more clutter. Like I actually have mild bedspread up in the put away in the closet upstairs, and so I could just bust that out if we ever needed to. But like having two blankets on a bed when they're not like one blanket on top of each other is just it gets messy. It's bad.
I guess so. I feel like that's the invention you need to make is like the ultra automatic way of sharing the even sharing and distribution of a duvet or a blanket so that one is enough for everyone involved and everyone is warm but no one can ever take more than what they need.
Jay, that sounds like blanket communism.
Damn right it does. I'm a blanket socialist.
In this country, Jay, it's every man for himself. Every person takes whatever blanket they can.
In that case, you lost to you lost to blanket capitalism.
The kingdom of Angelo seems like a harsh place.
It is a cold, frigid place where you are not guaranteed blankets because Dio burritoed herself.
Aww.
A Dio burrito sounds great.
Mhm.
Dio burrito here.
Maybe that could be her winter streaming name, Dio Burrito.
Dio burrito here.
Yes,
I'm down for it.
I agree.
Since it's already October and like we're doing the October spooky stream and obviously it's getting cold, Do you guys have any plans for Halloween?
I'm going to get pumpkin beer and a spooky movie or two, and I'm going to drink the pumpkin beer while watching the spooky movie or two.
Oh,
That
so
is a
you do
spread.
like spooky movies.
I do. I'm fine with spooky movies.
I like heckling spooky movies. Heckling is actually a lot of fun when it's a spooky movie and you're just
Yes.
watching with a bunch of friends.
Mm-hmm. That's why we don't go to theaters either.
That's what made Scary Movie back in the 90s so freaking good, is just that it was the movie that was being your friend and heckling scary movies for you. And then they made like 10 more of them, and the rest of them sucked.
Aw.
Yeah, all
Oh,
sequels.
actually, you know what'd be great? Final Destination. That's something that I should watch this year.
Oh man, I had some creepy nightmares the first time I watched
I
Final
can
Destination
never
1
drive
and 2.
behind a logging truck again. Every time I see a truck full of logs, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna slow down, get a little bit farther, get a little bit farther.
In that
yeah.
case, I don't think you
Okay.
can live. I don't think you can live in BC.
Yeah, that's true.
A logging truck is
Lots of logging trucks.
Is every fifth truck on the road.
Oof.
I mean, I'm sure I'd get over it if I had to deal with it more than once a year.
Yeah, but I'm always really paranoid about passing logging trucks. That's the part
Why?
that I can't remember what movie it was, but there was something Final Destination-ish, and it was like an older Hong Kong movie. But basically, someone's trying to pass a logging truck, and then the ropes snap, of course, and so all the logs just like roll into and over the car and crush it.
Nice.
Okay. For me, it's Final Destination 2. It starts out with a logging truck accident.
Great.
Yeah.
I've actually never seen a Final Destination movie. I've heard good things though.
Did either of you watch the Japanese Parasite Eve movies?
Nope.
No. I didn't realize there was some.
That was also very similar. Someone dies because they're in a car following a truck that's holding like a lot of like metal piping and stuff, and you can see where this is going.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's also another like mild fear that I have just on the road in general.
Now that I think about it, I think that happens in Final Destination 2. Some pipes fall off the back of a pipe truck and impale someone in the face.
Yeah, it impales them in the face. Yes, that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen like dash cam. I mean, videos of that happening, like in real life, but people usually don't die from it, but it does like impale through the windshield. Pretty terrifying, I gotta say. Like it's very real.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing that can happen.
That's the thing about Final Destination. They're always absurd circumstances, but it's real enough
Yep.
that you can be like, yeah, I could see that happening.
Well, I think that's why Jaws. So for a long time after Jaws, first showed in theaters, I believe there was a lot of negative press about sharks after
That still continues.
and people with like fears about sharks, even though statistically speaking, more coconuts kill people per year than sharks do.
Did you know that coconut trees are illegal in Hawaii?
What?
Because they kill people.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Just like having a residential coconut tree?
You can't have one.
Can you have I guess there's not enough real estate there to probably have a coconut farm, but
Probably not, but I don't know for certain. This is just something that I heard once, that it is illegal to have a coconut tree in Hawaii because they kill people.
hey, Mr. Wikipedia, is that true?
That's possible, just because it's such a tourist destination that they would want to avoid any bad press.
Can you imagine drunk tourists shaking the coconut trees, trying to shake a coconut down, and then just getting beamed on the head with a coconut and dying?
That probably happens.
I
way more
guarantee
often than
that's
not.
happened many times.
How much extra hard would it suck if it was a durian, huh?
So you'd be dead and smell bad.
Do durian? I actually don't know how high durian fruit grows on.
I don't know either.
But I mean, durians are also heavy, so I would probably say you're correct.
Yeah, plus spiky. The spikes probably don't help with the survival
There
rate.
is, speaking
Ooh.
of like Hong Kong movies, there is a like some kind of action, like Hong Kong action flick I remember, where someone absolutely uses durian in like a netting bag to like swing around like a flail and use as a weapon. I don't remember the movie, but absolutely it's happened.
Oh my goodness.
sounds
Of course
amazing.
they would.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense, right?
That's like kids throwing walnuts at people, but before they're shelled.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm seeing pictures of durians on trees, and yeah, they grow fairly high. Like high enough where it would still hurt you if it fell on you.
Now that I think about it, chestnut trees are horrifying.
They are. They look like tiny spiky durians, but they're small.
Yeah. Well, they're basically tennis balls covered in nails.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is accurate. Someone in my neighborhood has one, and I saw it, and I didn't know what it was the first time I walked past it. So I Wikipedia'd it like any normal person, and there it is. It's terrifying. Especially now when we get like the really cold gusts of wind and stuff is actually falling off trees right now. Well, was in the last 2 weeks.
I didn't know chestnut trees could grow in Canada. I don't know what the environment for them is really.
I haven't seen any around here, but back when I lived in Windsor, there were a few around the house that I was growing up in.
Right.
Did you ever accidentally step on them in the lawn?
Oh, absolutely. They're awful. Oh, I hate them. I'll eat chestnuts out of spite, being like, yeah, fuck your tree. I'm eating its babies.
There are
Mmm.
very few things that you eat out of spite.
Yes, and chestnuts are one of
When
them.
we first moved here, one of our friends got us a little bonsai tree, and the bonsai tree is like a from a juniper bush. And I don't know if you know what juniper is
Oh.
like as a plant.
They use it to make gin.
They're
Yes,
very
well, that's from the
spiky.
berries, but like from the actual like plant, it's just a little tiny pine tree with tiny, tiny little needles, and when it sort of like
Oh, no.
sheds, you will find them in your foot as it falls into the carpet. It's really bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So not great. Really not great. It's almost
Okay.
like our friend isn't really our friend.
Yeah, they gave you a murder plant.
Does that sound pretty sus to you?
No.
Yeah, that friend sounds sus,
No,
man.
that's usually the level of friends I
Best
have.
vote them out.
Yeah. Vent. Speaking of all of the Among Us memes,
There's some really good Among Us memes.
yeah,
They're amazing,
I've
actually.
seen a lot of them, and they are really good. And I don't even play Among Us.
I was gonna say.
Some of the animations that come out of it are just chef's kiss. Oh, 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 oh.
The best ones are the not
Hmm?
safe for work ones, so I can't talk about them.
Oh,
There's not safe for work Among Us memes?
we'll
Yeah.
take this offline.
Wow.
It has to do
Wow.
with, they usually have to do with, oh no, I'm too thick to fit through the vent. Help me, step crewmate.
That's actually a very specific fetish.
That is a
They're
very
hilarious.
specific fetish.
It's actually really hilarious.
Like, being stuck in walls is one of those things that I just do not understand. Like, I get it, but I just like, what? Why is this a specific thing?
I don't know. Rule 34?
But that is a road that we cannot go down for the podcast.
It's true. I'm just saying
Certainly
that they're
not.
out there and they're hilarious. I have played a lot of Among Us. I probably play. I don't know.
My first time playing was with Jay.
Yes.
And the instant that I got imposter, he sussed me out. Like, he found me out almost immediately because I had no idea how to even play the game. I had no idea how to look like I was a crewmate.
See, that's
So it was
hard.
basically going around. I don't even think I killed anyone before I got voted out.
It's
that
hard
time.
to be imposter on your first playthrough because you don't know the meta yet.
There is a
You
lot
don't know
of meta.
anything about the game. Like, I didn't even know what goals looked like when I was an imposter.
But the hard part is like, even though I've taught a bunch of other friend groups about how to play, and they run into the same problem as you do. And an imposter is probably the hardest role because you don't really get to learn the game as an imposter. With that being said, like, it's not like I could just let you go either, because I'd be like, well, the point is for the team to win, so the team has to figure out how that, like, what that looks like too. So it's very difficult to
That's
Yeah,
true.
like, it's not like I wanted anyone to specifically lose, but it doesn't really make sense for you to kind of go around, like, stumbling around killing people either. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Angelo, so therefore we must vote.
Having that said, the first time that you kill someone in front of another person and then lie to the rest of the group to get that other person voted off is so satisfying. It's just like, oh my god. That is like the peak gameplay. It's like, yes, not only did I kill someone, I got the rest of the crewmates to kill someone too.
Inversely, the most frustrating thing ever is when you're right and you are the one who gets voted out. Like the person in those shoes,
Oh,
that's
for
gotta
sure.
suck.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
I think that though, like, that feeling you're talking about. I know that I have a few friends who actually refuse to play Among Us, not because like they don't think it's fun or whatever, but they're just not the kind of person who wants to get caught in these sort of situations. Like it brings anxiety to them actually, and they just don't want to be involved in like the deceit and like the stress of like having to argue for or against themselves or whatever it may be. So I have friends that, unfortunately, as much as I would like people to, I like to think that Among Us is a pretty approachable game because it's fairly simple. I do know that some people don't want to play. That being said, we do play a subset of rules. It's like homegrown rules. They're not official, which is like hide and seek, which is it's a pretty common and well-known, I guess, subset
What
of
exactly
gameplay.
is the rule set for that? Because I haven't played hide and
You've
seek
never played
much.
hide and seek? You need to play hide and seek.
No.
It's really simple. The very basic premise is that you always have only one killer. I don't think it can work with two. We haven't tried it with two, to be honest, but it just doesn't, like, reasonably it doesn't work with two imposters. There's one imposter. Everyone is at like 3.25 times speed, which is like I think the fastest speed you can go running around at Mach 4. And basically, whatever map you end up choosing, the imposters have a bunch of tasks. They can only win doing tasks. The murderer can only win murdering. There is no voting, no reporting of bodies, and the murderer is essentially blind. They have a very small circle of sight, whereas the crewmates have the best sight available. They can see everybody and everything.
Oh, damn.
And basically, the reason why it's at max speed is so that the imposters can get to their tasks and finish them off fairly quickly. Secondly, even though the imposter is also moving at the same speed as everybody else, they can not really see everybody. It's hard to track because you're only seeing a little
So
bit.
the imposter is basically the old man from Don't Breathe.
I don't know what Don't Breathe is.
It's a horror movie where a bunch of thieves break into this blind guy's house.
Okay.
And he turns out to be a psychopath.
Okay. And so basically the fun in the game comes from like, so you're not arguing, so there's a lot less stress and confrontation about stuff. But what happens is that you'll be like we play with open mic. You don't have to hide. You don't have to like shut up during gameplay or whatever. And then during the course of the game, it'll be like, oh, I'm just doing tasks. And then you see the guy who is the imposter run to the room, and you're like, oh my god. And you just have to start deking them out. And that's where the speed comes into play as well, because if you play it on slow, you will not be able to you cannot lose the imposter who's on you, even though their circle of vision is small, because you just can't travel fast enough to sort of get out of their little bit of sight. Whereas if we're going at 3.25 times speed, it's literally like meow, like you just blaze past them and there's a chance you can deke them out. But sometimes they'll still be able to predict where you're gonna go, and they can still like stab you. And again, their whole job is just to stab you and everyone until they can get down to 1-on-1, in which case they win. Otherwise, you have to be doing tasks, and then when you're done doing tasks, you need to be hiding, because if you get killed, that's also bad. Like, it's just one continuous game. There's no breaks. It's just tasks versus a killer. It's very fun.
Neat.
So have you formed your own personal strategy for, well, hide and seek mode and for regular Among Us?
Yes, but if I told you, that would give it away.
One of my strats is that
Don't lose.
when I'm the imposter, I try to kill someone on one side of the map and then do a what's it called? Sabotage that makes everybody else go to the other side of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So that hopefully the idea is that the body doesn't get found for so long that it can like take suspicion away from me. I can build an alibi in the meantime.
Yeah.
Possible.
That sounds like emerging psychopath. Yep.
Yeah, just a little bit. What do you mean emerging?
I have strategies. My only advice is to play consistently and learn the map. That's really what it comes down to.
So really, being a beginner in the game actually is a significant disadvantage because you can't learn a map on your first playthrough.
So
It depends, though. There were a couple times where I was imposter on my first or second day, where I literally got out of votes being like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. What even is that? I don't understand. I don't freaking know what's going on, dude. I'm not an imposter. I couldn't figure that shit out.
And at some point we're just gonna be like, don't care. We're
When I
voting you
literally
out
knew
anyways.
exactly what I was
We're voting
doing.
you out anyways. What it really comes down to is consistent play really will help you overall. If you can learn the map, it'll help you. Even if you're new, I try to make so we'll have experienced people who play with new people and we try to teach them along the way and give them a little bit of information overload, unfortunately. Or I just like getting a bunch of new people together with only one or two experienced people to guide them along, and then they figure out the game for themselves, and then you can sort of see where they're going. The only problem with situation B is that you kind of have to play down to their level, so I don't try as hard with them, which totally works anyways, but it's like a much easier game, whereas like the normal game with experienced people like is very much more like high paced and like not necessarily always big brain stuff, but like you're much more aware that everyone else is also much more aware about everything from tasks to sabotage to where this is or what their story is and how things are being covered up. So you got to just be consistent and persist and not play differently if you're an imposter or not play differently if you're just a regular crewmate. But I won't tell you my strategies. That would be silly. And people have tells, and it's actually really funny because there's a lot of deceit and bluffing. So sometimes it's really good to be able to pick up on somebody and just how they sort of default to a certain action sometimes when they're a certain character or they're up to something specific.
My tell is that as soon as I'm suspected of being, or rather accused of being the imposter, I just start fucking laughing like a madman. That is my tell. It's kind of subtle, but some people end up picking up on it.
So subtle.
Yeah, just you have to be 900 IQ to pick up on it, but some people do.
Are you gonna pick it up sometime, Nancy?
I don't know, maybe. I feel like I wouldn't try terribly hard at the game because I'm not super attached to that style of game. It kind of feels like you're basically playing like a digital version of like Werewolf, right? Except you're in space and you're may or may not be trying to kill people, and there aren't multiple ways to win, I guess. You don't have a saboteur on crew who is going to win if like a specific crew member dies or something like that.
Right, but they're working on
There's nothing like that, but there are mini games.
I've always been really bad at lying anyway, so I kind of feel like this isn't really my jam, but I would play it if there was an event for it or something.
Right. I think you should play. I mean, it's fairly it's not like it costs a lot or anything, and I feel like if you're playing it with friends, it's not too bad. Bless you. We did not rehearse that. Excuse you. But there is a lot of fun to it. It's fairly simple. There's rumors that they're introducing more roles in future patches, so you may like it at a later date as well. Additionally, this is not related to Among Us specifically, but there is a game that I want to play that's in a similar vein called Deceit. And
Deceit is great.
you should play it. It's free on Steam, I saw.
Is it free now?
Last I checked, which was like yesterday.
Okay. I have it already.
Okay. I should get it. And we should
Yeah.
and Nancy can get it, and Bayford can get it, and a bunch of people can get it, because again, it's free, and it's like, if I remember correctly, it's essentially a couple of alien imposter type people have to finish their tasks and then attack the humans while the humans are also trying to finish tasks and escape like the space station or the survey station or whatever it is that they're on. That's the general
Yeah,
gist
so
of the game.
the humans are working towards tasks to escape, and the game actually goes through several different areas before they finally get to like the escape round. Whereas the aliens or the imposters or the vampires, I don't even know what they're properly called. Their goal is to kill people and get blood so that
Yes.
they can transform into like their evil
Yes.
mode.
Wow.
And it is exceptionally fun.
Hmm.
And it's an FPS, so like I like that. It's just good.
Yeah, we should get it. We should get going on that because it's another nice little deceitful horror game, but there's no debate or anything. It's just murder in times. It sounds
Just
like.
murder.
The only debate is with gun.
And we
Ooh.
all know how that goes down.
I always win arguments.
Speak to the
The
rifle.
only way I win arguments argument against gun is with bigger gun.
Yes.
But yeah, that sounds fun. We'll look into. Oh, I'm gonna get it. Let's just put it that way. I'm gonna get it, and then whoever wants to play will play. It sounds like a good time.
What else you been playing, Jay?
You got your spooky, scary murder games. You got anything bright and cheerful for us?
No. Do you, Angelo?
Yes, maybe with some waifus in it.
Maybe something that gives us a bit of an impact?
I don't impact anything. I actually, I think I've already stopped playing.
Wow.
I did a roll, and then I did a re-roll, and then I'm done.
That was quick.
So here's the problem.
So we already talked for 20 minutes about Genshin Impact earlier this morning.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. And now, between Jay being fairly optimistic and kind of happy with the game, he's already quit, and it's only been 8 hours. Wow.
You know what it comes down to is that I like aspects of the gameplay. I like the party system. I don't hate the waifus or anything either, like the characters. I don't like gachas, but I still like the characters. I just don't think the core gameplay is interesting enough to me, and I switched over to keyboard and mouse because controller is actually hell, and while keyboard and mouse is easier, I also just sort of hate that too. So there's really not enough redeeming quality. Like,
Yikes.
it's a blatant ripoff of Breath of the Wild mechanics and gameplay mixed with some sort of, I don't know, some kind of interesting party integration system, which is sort of like a fighting like Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game where like you call in an assist party, which isn't really, you can play as that character, but that's how it feels. But at the end of the day, honestly, I have other games to play, and I don't quite care enough about this. And with the gacha system, there's only gonna be more problems with that gacha system as it comes on. Like, you're gonna have to roll for legendary items, and you're gonna have to roll for mounts one day, and you're gonna have to roll for just so much crap other than just your waifu, and I don't want to be involved.
I'm still getting over the fact that there are so many currencies.
Yes. So there is
Ugh.
four currencies directly associated with pulling the gacha. So you got like your rainbow colored orbs, and then your blue colored gacha orbs, and the rainbow ones are for like the really good gacha, and the blue orbs are for like the less good, the story locked gacha. And then there's your primo gems, which you can use to buy either gacha currency. And then there's the premium currency that you actually spend money for, that you can then convert into primo gems that you can then use to buy the gacha. But you can use that for other things in the shop. So there is 4 currencies specifically tied to the gacha. But then, when you get duplicates in the gacha, when you get duplicate items or character, there are 2 more types of currency that you can use, that you get from the gacha to go and maybe buy resources, but also to go back and buy more gacha currency. So that is like 6 different kinds of currencies to keep track of, and it's just like, oh my god, what are you guys doing here? And that's actually completely disregarding the main in-game currency that you use for like buying items and leveling up characters and stuff. That's separate. That has nothing to do with the gacha. There's 6 other currencies directly tied to the gacha.
currency design in a gacha system has always been a hotly contested thing, but that's usually a problem that develops over time. Like the longer a gacha game is around and the more things they add on, like the more extra tier of characters. Like
Yep.
if you had S tier, they like introduce like a brand new SR tier, and then above that they go and they add more. Like this is a similar thing that happens in like MMOs when they introduce expansions, and all
Right.
of a sudden the level cap gets moved up, and then you get new things that you can get.
Hmm.
Same sort of thing, but that happens again over time. Genshin is so new. How is it that such a brand new game has 6 currencies?
Well, that's just the thing. Part of it for, like I mentioned, how there's like the shiny rainbow orbs for the really good gacha, and then the blue regular orbs for like the regular gacha. So part of that is going to have to do with the pity system that's built into the gacha, right? Because the pity system is on a per banner basis and resets with every new banner, they're incentivized to kind of limit how many times you can roll each banner and to make you roll one banner or another uh, depending on what they're trying to get out of it. So they can still reward you without giving you too much, if you catch my drift. As beyond that though, like the primo gems, if it was just the three, if it was just like, yeah, you have your premium gacha, you have your regular gacha, and you have your primo gems, which can be either, and then you directly buy the primo gems or whatever, uh, that would be simple. And I barely even care about the other 2 currencies you get from the gacha. They're like, just, yeah, here's something for having a duplicate. Okay, whatever. We can ignore those two. But to then make another layer of abstraction away from like real currency to what you're actually rolling, it's just like I've played other gachas before. I am deep into the Fate Grand Order hell, and that game has been around for what is it, 5 years now, maybe 6? I can't remember.
But it's
And
also built off a
there
successful
is,
franchise. You have to give them that too.
yeah, but there's one gacha currency that you buy. You buy your Saint Quartz, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Respectable.
And they can even be used for more than just rolling the gacha, too. Like, as far as simplicity goes in how you spend your money versus what you actually get out of it, it's still gambling, of course, and if you don't play gacha games, good for you. But there's fewer layers of abstraction, even though the game is fairly old.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, yeah, okay, I get it. And then Gacha Impact comes out, and it's like, holy shit, what is all this stuff? And on top of that, like, I actually do like the game. I think I'll be playing it for a while.
That's good.
My biggest complaint is that it's like Skyrim in the worst way.
Right.
Oh.
The most frustrating thing
It's
about
such a bad
Skyrim
UI.
is using the menus.
Oh.
So here's the problem I have with it. Like, it's an RPG, it's an action RPG. It's very similar in lots of ways to a game such as Breath of the Wild.
Extremely.
It does not control very well on a controller.
Hmm.
It uses the Japanese system for some reason for the style of controller, and
Confirm
you
and
cannot remap
cancel.
it. Yeah, for confirm and cancel, and you can't change that for I don't know what reason why. On an Xbox controller, it's even worse because B becomes your confirm, and every like cell in my body screams that that's wrong. And then, like I said, I switched over to keyboard and mouse, and it does feel better on keyboard and mouse because the UI is such a mess and the menus are such a mess that it doesn't like it's just like whatever, I'll play it. You know how Angelo literally just said that he sees himself playing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
During his monologue there for a moment, I was uninstalling the game.
Oh, jeez.
It's literally uninstalled from my hard drive now, and I
Wow.
will probably never play it again, and I'm okay with that. I do really have other.
Yep,
I
that's
honestly
fair.
have other games to play. Like that's what it really comes down to. I don't care enough,
I think for me, the reason it feels fresh is that I never played Breath of the Wild.
and that's fair.
So even if it is a shameless copy,
It's not even a good copy. That's half my problem.
okay.
The only improvement for you would be that there's waifus.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites so far?
Yeah, my girl Beidou got the badonk.
Oh, that answers my question.
Yeah, she's a sexy pirate queen, and I love her. She's wonderful.
Okay.
She uses big swords.
Oh, okay. I can't argue with that. Big swords are fun.
Yeah, it's
I also
great.
found that it's really weird that there are only currently 3 weapon types. I think in the game.
There's 5.
Is there 5?
Yes. You've
There's
got your
sword.
regular short swords, you've got your great swords, you've got your bows, you've got your books for magic users, and then you've got your bows.
Oh, there are 5. But for some reason,
Yeah.
not even some reason, I think let's say like I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think that let's say there's 30 characters. 20 of them use swords.
Yes.
The lack of variety is astounding.
On one hand, though, that's not a bad thing because a lot of your leveling up goes into the weapons. So if you have 3 characters that share the same weapon type, that means you have to level up fewer actual weapons to get a solid team together.
I guess I just don't care
Like,
enough.
I could have 3 greatsword people going, and then 1 person who uses bows, and I could be set.
I mean,
Whenever I roll a new better greatsword, I just shift down the older, worse greatswords to other people in the party, the ones that I've already spent money on, spent like resources on to level up.
That's not a bad strat.
And the only issue with that is that, well, that's boring because you don't have as much variety in the gameplay that way. Yeah.
I could see that already, but either way, like I said, if it's already uninstalled, it's out of my mind now. I cannot care. I do not care. I kind of feel a little bit bad because I told a friend that I might play it with her, but I was like, at the end of the day, like it just doesn't captivate me, and I'm not gonna spend.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I like games.
And you have to
are my
grind a little
vice.
bit to get to the point where you can
Here's the
where you
I
can
will
multiplayer.
freely admit that games are my vice. Like I don't really spend any other money on any sort of recreational stuff. So like games sort of matter to me in that I want to play a game that actually interests me. I'll play Deceit instead now. I think that's what's gonna happen. I'll play a few rounds of Deceit and I'll probably really like that. Might get back into some Left 4 Dead 2
Nice.
because there's still some content I haven't quite played yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch like Cyberpunk is coming. I still got to finish Witcher. I still got to finish Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't care. I just can't care about this waifu Breath of the Wild simulator. Breath of the waifu, whatever you wanted to call it.
Breath of the
Waifu
Waifu.
Gacha Impact.
Yeah. Gotcha Impact.
I
just
did
can't
like
do
that
it.
one.
Yeah. But aside from that, I would say Nance, if you want to get in a game of Among Us, you should. Even if you don't really like the main part, we can always play hide and seek, and hide and seek is legitimately a very fun sub game. And Angelo, you should try it as well because you said you haven't played it before. There's a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds like a good time.
You know what else will be a good time?
What?
Friday, October 30th.
My God.
Otafest Extra Life Marathon stream.
Wow.
Stream. Bayfar and J.
That's me.
12 hours of scream. Well, I keep tripping over my tongue here.
It was almost
That's
so good.
disappointing.
You had such a
disappointing.
good opening run, too.
Ah.
But
That's
yes,
okay.
please do join us October 30th from noon to midnight. We're taking in donations for Extra Life to benefit the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, one of which would be our local Alberta Children's Hospital. They do amazing work. And we'll be streaming Soma, a horror game. It'll be fun. Bring your own Halloween snacks. And we're just going to keep on going until we finish. That's the truth of it. We say that it's 12 hours, but I think we're gonna just go as well as we can. If we finish early, we'll try and do something else. If not, we're just gonna try and finish Soma. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/Otafest. Follow them if you're not following them. Leave the notification bell on. It's on by default, and that way you get a little notification on your phone every time they go
Exactly.
live.
We don't go live on that channel very often, but when we do, it's for a good reason.
And it's a big deal.
Yes.
Exactly.
It's a very big deal.
So see you guys there. I think we're pretty much done with this show. So we'll see you on the next one after this one.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.